So we are in chapter 8, Akshara Brahma Yoga. This is an odd chapter in Bhagavad Gita, but it gives you a lot of general knowledge. As we prepare for everything, even if we have to get jnanam, we prepare. If we want to plan for our retired life, we again talk to many people and get whatever his inputs are required. Similarly, for leaving this world also requires some preparation. So this chapter highlights those aspects by which, because normally we feel death means something not everybody wants. But even if you don't want, there is no other way other than dying. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So once you are born, you have to die. And once you die, you are again born. So this is the samsara chakra. We all know that. But there are methods, by which even the death can be not a threatening thing, but it will be a pleasant affair. Between the Muslims and the Hindus, Muslims, when a child is born, they will start crying that you have taken birth in this world, which is a miserable world. But when somebody dies, they will be happy. That is, he got liberation. But in our case, the reverse. When a child is born, we are all very happy. When somebody dies, we are all totally sorrowful and grief-stricken. So here the Lord Krishna talks about what preparations are required. Even if I have to become a graduate in a particular discipline, I have to go through KG class, schooling, college, then specialization, then only I become a full-fledged professional people. So similarly here, some preparations are required. So that he talks about. This chapter starts with 7 questions by Arjuna. And the 7th question was, he says, at the time of death, how one could remember Bhagavan. So that is the topic of the entire 8th chapter. Now, if I read sloka number 10, Prayanakale manasa chalena bhaktya yuktya yoga balena chaiva Suryanarayan, unga mute பண்ணுங்க. Your video. Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva Bruvor Madhye Ranam Aveshya Samyak Satam Param Purusha Mupaiti Divyam. So here he is talking about 4 disciplines, 4 methods. At the time of death, Prayana Kale, Manasa Achalena, Manasa Achalena. Manasa Achalena means keep the mind steady. It is very difficult for all of us to, because we don't know what will be the state of mind at the time of death. But here we are talking about an upasaka, saguna upasaka. Who is a saguna upasaka? A meditator who is constantly in the thought of Bhagavan. Saguna Upasana. Constantly in the thought of Bhagavan. So we are talking about that Upasaka. And he also do it with Nishkama Upasana. Nishkama means he does not want any other worldly affairs other than Bhagavan. So Saguna Nishkama Upasana. So we are talking about that particular type of person we are talking about in this chapter. Because he will only get at the time of death, he will remember Bhagavan at the time of death, and he will go to Brahma Loka. And Brahma Loka, he will have, Lord Brahma will teach him Jnana Yoga, and then he will get liberation. That is called Karma Mukti. So what happens to that man? So his mind is steady, achalena manasa. Then second is bhaktya yukto. He is all the time associated with Bhagavan. You ask him anything, he will say Bhagavan. He will relate everything to Bhagavan. Bhaktya yuktya. That is why, prominent is given for Bhakti Yoga. And it's very easy in this Kali Yuga. Because you can take a japa and start thinking of God all the time, 24/7. Yoga balena chaiva. Yoga balena. That means by strength of yoga. In the 8th shloka, he has talked about Abhyasa Yoga. What is Abhyasa Yoga? Constantly repeating the same name again and again, Nama again and again. That is God's name. And that ultimately becomes your samskara, and that becomes your vasana. And that vasana gives you enough strength to meet all challenges, outside challenges. I mean, any adversity you can meet squarely. So, Abhyasa Yogena. So, what are the things? Prayana Kale, Manasa Achalena, not Chalena. Chalena means wavering. Here, Achalena, Bhaktya Yukto, constantly remembering Bhagavan, Yoga Balena Chaiva. That means Abhyasa Yoga. Here, he can also be taken as pranayama. That means you take the control of prana. Then he says, next, the second line, Bruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak. Bruvor Madhye, that is between the two eyebrows. Bruvor Madhye, between the two eyebrows, Pranam Aveshya. The prana should be brought. Samyak, very well. That means there should, see, once your mind is not wavering, and once you are all the time thinking of Bhagavan, naturally this will also take place. Because concentration on the center of between the two eyebrows, so that is very, very important for meditation purpose also. What happens to him? Sa tam param, such a person, purusham, upaiti divyam, he attains divine, Brahma jnanam, Brahma prapti. Upaiti means he attains. Simple shloka here is, simple meaning is that let us all practice bhakti yoga, nama japa, meditation. Keep the mind concentrated, not allowed to waver here and there. Be devoted all the time. Now, when we talk about Bruvor Madhye, Pranam Aveshya, This prana has two types of activities. Once we say prana means energy, and the other is to discipline the mind. When you sit for meditation and you observe your prana, suppose you had some heated argument with somebody, and at that time you sit for meditation, you will not be able to concentrate on the object of meditation. Because at that time, your prana will be violently fluctuating between up and down. That we can see also. Gasping, breath is gasping. That means that angry reaction is inside us, and the mind is totally agitated, violently agitated. So at that time, meditation is very, very difficult. So what can you do? That is why we do pranayama. See, pranayama is also not very easy to understand, because if you go through a proper learn from a proper teacher, guru, then he will tell you that for doing pranayama, you have to have so many controls. You need to have control over your sleep, you control over your food, you should be control over your enjoyment, entertainment. So all these have to be properly controlled. Then only the mind can come under your control. Ramana Maharshi used to say, if you want to catch the mind, because the mind is very sushma, subtle, so it is very difficult to caught hold of the mind. Because anything subtle, it is very difficult to catch it. In the case of gross items, we can catch it. See, for example, all the objects in the world, we can go and take it with us. We go to a cell phone shop, you want to buy a cell phone, you ask him to pay the money and then take the phone back with you, because that's a gross item. But if somebody wants to say, I am selling love, can you give me love? But that love you cannot carry with you, because that love is very subtle, sushma. So anything sushma is very difficult to catch it. Grihyate. So what is the Ramana Maharshi used to say? Use the net of prana and catch hold of the mind. So when you simply sit for the meditation, if the mind is agitated, allow the mind agitation to subside. And afterwards, what you should do is watch your breath. Simply sit for 5 minutes, watch your breath, how it is going, whether it is going fluctuating violently or whether it is doing it peacefully. So if you see a Swamiji in meditation, you will see his breath is so beautifully swinging. So that is the type, that way also you can have do pranayama. Not, holding one side of the nose, left nose closed and then inhale through right, then again leave it like that, hold it for some time. These are all techniques available. But unless and until you learn from a proper person, that pranayama can also leave you into diseases. So never attempt to do pranayama without knowing from a proper teacher. But this simple pranayama, what Ramana Maharshi says is, simply sit at one place and observe your prana. And if the prana is smoothly going up and down, that means you are a calm person, quiet person, peaceful person. That means your agitation of the mind has been subsided. In other words, you are taking control of the prana. So energy is under your control. So the mind is controlling the prana. The other aspect of prana is energy. The prana has got 5 divisions. One function is prana, apana, dhyana, samana, udana. So these are the 5 physiological functions in the body. Suppose you eat your food. The food has to go into your stomach. It will not go by gravity. Please note. So you need a outside Shakti. That is called Prana Shakti. So that Prana Shakti, if it has to be active, then your breathing should be well controlled. So that is Prana. Then Apana. Whatever waste we have, even to throw, you need a Shakti. Apana. Then the third is Samana. Samana means digestive power. That means you need, even for that, energy is required. If it stays in one place and no digestion is taking place, you can imagine what all troubles will get in the body, diseases will get in the body. So that is samana. Then dhyana. Dhyana means circulation. So whatever, to circulate the energy, there is a pump, heart pump. So the blood goes on circulating, collecting all the impurities and taking to the heart, cleans it, again send it back. So there also you need a Shakti. That is the fourth one. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Samana. There is one more Shakti called Udana. Udana is a very peculiar thing. Whatever is Prana is doing, this Udana is doing reversing. Reversal action is called Udana. See, suppose we eat some food which is not acceptable to the digestive system. What happens is you start vomiting. Because that energy comes, Udana Prana takes over and throws that thing out. So that vomiting Shakti is called Udana Shakti. Or sneezing, something happens, sneezing. Tears come in the eyes. So these are all Udana Shakti. So you can see now 5 pranas. If the 5 pranas are not properly functioning in the body, we are left with lot of diseases. Now for each and every discipline, there is a specialist. Prana, cardiologist. Digestive system, you have gastro people. Breathing problem, again cardio, this thing. If the circulation is poor, the pumps, heart pump. So many, every part of the body is connected with these energies. And we think that this energy is available freely. Yes, the air is available freely. We are breathing in and we are breathing out. But that breath we should be able to cut. So that is the most important aspect of this thing. So if the breath is under your control, that is, for example, especially for people who die, that is called Udana Shakti. Even for dying, you need Udana Shakti. Even for leaving this earth, there is a Shakti called Udana Shakti. What is meant by Udana Shakti? The gross body has to be pushed out of the body. That means it go the gross body gets out and then it joins with the Sukshma Shariram. To make it clear, we have 2 bodies. Gross body, Sthula Shariram. Then we have got Sukshma Shariram. And the death is nothing but the Sthula Shariram going out and joining the Sukshma Shariram. That is the real definition for a death. And for pushing that Stula Shariram to Sukshma Shariram, you need a Shakti called Udana Shakti. Udana Shakti means a reversal. Same Pranan has got this power also within us. You will see, we have seen in Nana Nani itself, there are some people die by a heart attack and goes straight away, no problem. But there are people who are lying in the bed for the last 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, but they are not dying. Even though they want to die, they are not able to die because their Udana Shakti is very, very weak. So, during our day-to-day life, we have to follow, I won't say pranayama, but breath has to be looked into, and all these 5 pranas has to be developed. And if any weaknesses come, we should be able to attend to that. And especially Udana prana at the time of death. You see, now, for example, if you take Bhishma in Mahabharata, Bhishma could have the Udana Shakti under his full control. There is no need for him because he decided that I will die on a particular time, Uttarayanam, and on a particular thing and all that. So he could prolong his death, even though he was ready to die. But he could, because Udana Shakti was under his control. Especially in villages, because I am coming from a village, many of you know what happens is when the old man who is lying in the bed for the last 3-4 years, so to stimulate his death, what they do is they used to give coconut water, tender coconut water, because they need that Udana Shakti has to be kicked out, like an electrical shock. Or they will give him a bath in a cold water. So these are all in the good old days. Nowadays, medicines have come, but we are not allowed to take medicines because that is not allowed in this country. They call it euthanasia. If somebody wants to leave the body, there are certain countries have allowed euthanasia. Instead of prolonging the suffering, they will take away the physical body. So God has given us all these faculties, but unfortunately what happens is, due to our way of life, indulgence in way of life, that we are not able to protect the prana. So that's what he says, Burvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak. So this particular Upasaka has developed, he has developed all the 4 things before. Manasa Acharena, Bhaktya Yuktaha, Yoga Barena, Burvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya. That means the life is under his control. That means he can decide when he wants to go, when he wants to leave this body. So that is possible for a yoga practitioner. There are a lot of other questions come. If that is so simple, so easy. When I am a jnani, I am not bothered about my body at all. My abhimana for body has totally gone. When I am not the body, whatever happens to the body, whether I am sick, in the case of Ramana Maharshi, he had cancer. He was not bothered. He said, it is for the body, not for me. Atma is ever nityam, everlasting. So that jnanam will give inspiration to these people. So this shloka says, at the time of death, with an unshaken mind full of devotion, by the power of yoga, fixing the whole prana breath between the 2 eyebrows, he, the seeker, reaches the supreme resplendent Purusha. Importance of Bhakti Yoga has been emphasized here. Even the previous slokas, he says, a number of times he says, Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthanuchintayen Abhyasa Yoga Anyagamina Anuchintayen. So what is Anuchintayen again? Bhakti. Again he says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. I mean, at all times, let us remember only Bhagavan. And that Bhagavan, you should have the faith, and he will protect you. The one who depends on Bhagavan is the happiest person. And one who depends on worldly pleasures, he is a samsari. So now it is for us to decide whether you want to be a samsari, whether you want to be a devotee. There is no in between also. Yes, I will do sometimes bhakti and sometimes I will indulge in pleasure, worldly pleasures and all that. But there are now two things here, only one thing. Either you be there or be there. Normally what happens is people say, I have no time for bhakti because I have so many commitments, so many activities, my children, my grandchildren, my friends. So we waste, not I say waste our time, but our attention goes to all those things. So we are not able to conserve our energy in the devotion, bhakti. So that is the reason why we have 4 ashramas. What is the ashramas? Brahmacharya ashramam. In Brahmacharya ashramam, study, only study, 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 study. Let him not worry about earning and all that. Somebody will give him food, somebody will give him dress, somebody will give him a place to sleep. And he has to only study, Brahmacharya. The second thing is Grihastha. We are all Grihasthas because we are married, we have our children, family life and all that. At that time also we can say, I have no time to worship Bhagavan. Yes, understandable. But then after happens is, normally in the case of people who have completed their responsibility, suppose they got children, daughter or son, they got married, and after that, because they should look after their affairs, and you retire from Grihastha ashrama to Vanaprastha ashrama. Vanaprastha ashrama means you have all the time to devote on Bhagavan. See, for example, our coming to Nana Nani, because we are away from the family, but now if you look at the situation, you have two options. Either be devoted to Bhagavan, spend all your time 24/7 on the thought of Bhagavan, then cultivate all these problems, these qualities. That means you are a Saguna Upasana, Saguna Nishkama Upasana. You have enough time. Maybe you may not get knowledge, jnanam in this birth, but then at the time of death of such a Saguna, Nirguna, Nishkama Upasana, he is sure to get a birth and he will go to Brahmaloka. And at Brahmaloka, he will study scriptures under the teaching of Lord Brahma, God Brahma, and then he will get liberation. We are talking about such people. So we have all opportunities to get Krama Mukti, provided we follow what has been given in the scriptures. But unfortunately, what happens is 90% of our time, even though we are here away from the family, we are only thinking of family. What is my son doing? His children, have they got admission? And especially when they are abroad, then all sorts of sankalpas in the mind. Imagination. So that means we are wasting our energy on that one. So how to conserve that energy, he is talking about in the next 2-3 shlokas. So we go to now shloka number 11. he has given the disciplines. What are the 4 disciplines we should follow? And he says, Yadaksharam Vedavido Vatanti Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha Yadichando Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshye Yadaksharam Vedavido Vatanti. What is called Aksharam? Vedavido Vadanti. So the people who have got scriptural knowledge will give us very clearly, Vadanti, clearly, what is meant by Aksharam, Yat Aksharam. Because that which, by obtaining that, we will be able to continuously think of Bhagavan. Aksharam, indestructible. This is first question of Bhagavan, Arjuna. He says, in sloka number 3, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. So Brahman is indestructible, ever available, all powerful, Sarvajnan, Sarvavyapi. That Aksharam Brahmam, I will tell you very clearly. He says, Sangrahena Pravakshe, last line. I will explain to you in detail. See, the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is that there is no loose end. Everything is covered properly. Here he is giving only a promise, pratijna, that I will tell you when. He is going to the Sangrahena Pravakshe. In sloka number 20, 21, 22, he will give detailed explanation of Aksharam Brahma. So Brahman is Aksharam. We have seen now Brahma means, we have said either it can be Aksharam, or it can be Om, or it can be a Brahmana, or it can be a Saguna Brahmana, or it can be a Nirguna Brahmana. They are all Aksharam. Then second is Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha. Vishanti Yati Yadyatayo Vitaragaha. Yatayaha means a sannyasi. Who is a sannyasi? He has renounced not the world, he has renounced the attachment to the world. He has renounced the attachment to the world. He has not renounced the world, because he cannot renounce the world. The world is there already, but that is in our imagination. Jagan Mithya, he says, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. For him, the world is not there. Vitaragaha. Vitaragaha means free of attachment. Vitaragaha. So the definition for a sannyasi is Vitaragaha, attachment. Then third he says, Yadichando Brahmacharyam Charanti. The one who is seeking Atma or Brahman, he takes up Brahmachari Vratam. Brahmachari means Brahmacharyam has got a very loose meaning, because we always say he's a Brahmachari means he is absence of sex. Not that meaning. We have 5 senses. All the 5 sense organs has to be totally controlled. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. 5 sense organs. So all the 5 has to be controlled. So it is called Dhamma. We have heard about, Dhamma, Sama, Sadhana Chatushtaya. So here, Brahmacharyam here means total control of the mind, the control of the sense organs. Because as a Brahmachari, what happens? He is not indulging in any activities. he gets whatever food is available. He has no choice. Whatever is given in the mud, he takes it in the Gurukula. Similarly, his dress, he's not worried about the dress. He's not worried about the sleeping and all that. I mean, all comforts he has automatically rejected. Even if it's available, he's not interested in that one. So that is a brahmachari. Yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam, that path or the route, sangrahena pravakshe. That which is declared imperishable by the Vedas, Veda knowers, that into which the self-controlled and desire-freed enter, that desiring which brahmacharya is practiced, that God I will declare to thee in brief. Now, he is now indirectly glorifying the Lord. Because Arjuna, he has to keep the interest of Arjuna. Arjuna should not run away after hearing all this. That he is, talking all impossible things. Prayanakale, manasa chalena, buddhya ayuktya, all these things, how can I remember when I am in a sick bed? So that means Arjuna will say, enough of your teaching now, I am going. Because nothing is entering into my mind. But God is not leaving him. He is keeping him interested because ultimate goal is moksha, the glory of the Lord. So Aksharam Paramam Brahma, that is, I will talk about that one. Then the word called Vitaragaha, free of attachment. There was a 90-year-old man staying in the ashram. 90-year-old. He has left everything. And he wanted to die. Death is not coming to him. So he told the ashramites that for the next 4 days, give me only water. I will live in water, only drinking water, 4 days. And if I don't die within that 4 days, then stop giving water also. Good condition, because you want to die. And you are staying in an ashram. If I am staying in a family, the family members may not allow me to do all these things. Whereas in the case of in Mutt and all that, ashramam, nobody is bothered. Because, they will follow the instructions given by the Guru, by the ashramite. So on the 7th day, one of his ashram friend came to see him. And this man, on and off, his memory will come. Sometimes he talks sense, sometimes by action. And sometimes he will be unconscious. So this friend who came, he was looking at him and he was wearing a rudraksha. Quite a good rudraksha he was having. And being born and practicing all this tapas and all that, he thought that is a valuable thing. So he told the attendant who was attending to this 90-year-old man that when he dies, give me one rudraksha of that from him. That's all he said. Immediately that 90-year-old man, because in his subconscious mind, he has got so much attachment to that Rudraksham. He got out of the Rudraksham and showed by sign, I will not give. This is mine. Don't give him, with a hand symbol. So you can now imagine the man who wants to die, who wants to leave this world, but what is an attachment he has on the Rudraksha. And that is subconscious mind. So when you say Vitaragaha, that means total freedom from attachment. Ragat-dvesha. If you have got likes and dislikes, naturally at the time of death, only likes and dislikes will come in the forefront. I'm not scaring anybody by talking all this, because we should know that, where we stand as of today. And since we are all interested in scriptural studies, so it is easy to follow. Like nothing rigorous thing to be done. What it says is bhakti. That's all. Bhakti. Be devoted to God all the time, 24 hours, come what may. So that is what he is requesting us. So easy to follow also. And here we are staying in a place where distractions are very, very minimum, but we can create distractions also. So that is the beauty of staying here. Both are possible. People can stay without distraction, without attachment, but it's also possible to stay with attachment and with distraction. So scriptural study is taking. Now I was telling that Sukshma Shariram comprises 19 components. Sukshma Shariram, 19 components. 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Pranan, that I told you, Prana, and then mind, intellect, Chittam, and Ahankara. 15 plus 4, 19. These 19 are in the physical body, which we can grasp it. But at the time of death, these 19 components will leave the physical body and go with Sukshma Shariram. And the Sukshma Shariram, even in the time of Pralayam, it will be in dormant stage. That is called the causal body. That is why when during day and night, during the day we are all active, during the night everything is sleeping. But the causal body is still there. That means if I sleep, before sleeping, I plan tomorrow morning I have to go to airport, 6 o'clock or whatever it is. That thought is already in the mind. So it will automatically remind you next day morning that you have a program to go to airport at 6 o'clock. How is it possible? Because that is in the causal body. And that causal body gives a kick that yes, you have this appointment, follow this. Similarly here, the Sukshma Shariram, if it has to be eliminated, it is only possible through Jnana. Because Sukshma Shariram has come from that 5 elements, Panchabhutas. And Panchabhutas are created from Brahman. Whatever is created, it will go away. And Brahman is uncreated. It is Anadi. It has like Swayambhu, Swayam Jyoti. To know that, you don't need any other second item, third item. So it is a self-realization possibility. Why I am connecting this is, if my body is mithya, is not non-existent, as I told you, Jagan mithya, only Brahma Satyam. So if the world is not there, then where is the question of our indulging in world activities, attractions, entertainments, and all that? So he says that particular knowledge, Aksharam Brahma, I will tell you in detail, which he is going to talk about in the sloka number 20, 21, and 22. Now comes the 12th sloka. Sarvadvarani samyamya manohridi nirudhya cha murtyadayatmana pranam astito yogasaranam. Sarvadvarani samyamya manohridi nirudhya cha murtyadayatmana pranam आस्तितो योगधारणam sarvadvarani samyamya. Sarvadvarani samyamya means what? We have 9 gated, we are living in a town of 9 gates. Navatvare Pure Dehi. We have seen somewhere else before. So all these dwara has to be closed. Sarvatvarani samyamya. So that means if you can close all the 9 gated body, that means all the gates are closed. That means nothing will enter into our mind. And that is called Dhamma, sense control. And then next he says, Manohridi nirudhyacha. That mind should be allowed to rest in heart. Mind should be allowed to rest in the heart. Mano hridi nirudhyacha. See, for my eyes, Jnanendriya, Chakshut Jnanendriya, I have a golakam called eyes. Eyes is only a hole where that instrument is kept, and behind that the knowledge, eye knowledge is there. That's how we are able to see. So in the case of mind, which is already Sushmam, subtle, it has a golakam called heart, Hridi. So the mind should be controlled. That is called Mano Hridi Nirudhyacha means Samaha, Dhamma, Shama. So two things controlled. Then he says, Murdhini Adaya Atmanaha. It was split that. Murdhyadaya Atmanaha means Murdhini Adaya Atmanaha. Murdhini means our head, top of the head. Uchchandale, அப்படிம்போது தமிழில். Pranam as pranam. So our prana should be taken to that murdhini. Who? Astitaha yoga dharanam. The people who are able to concentrate, dharana means concentration, by yoga. So if they are able to keep the senses, the mind, the intellect, everything under that murdhini adaya. Adaya means bring it. Atmanaha. That is the Atman. So if you are able to bring that pranan into that particular portion, then at the time of death, the prana will go through that opening. And this opening is called in Sanskrit Sushumna Nadi. I don't know whether you have heard about it. Sushumna Nadi is that Nadi through which the breath should go through. Outlet for the Jivan. At the time of death, they say that Sushumna Nadi head, the top of the head, will become very, very, very soft, and then for the prana to leave, it is much easier. These can happen to all the sannyasis. I don't know whether you have heard, sannyasis, when they call it Videha Mukti. They will not say that he has sannyasi, that Guruji has died. No, he has attained Videha Mukti. He has left the body, gross body, and his prana has gone through the top of the head, Murdhini. And what normally people do in Gurukulas, that he will be, when immediately the body dies, they will keep him in a position called sitting position with the legs crossed leg and the hands tied, and then the body will be dropped down in a kind of they keep drill a hole in the earth and then bring it inside that hole. And then the next successor of that Guru Pidam, they will, there are some Pidams where they break 1,000 coconuts to keep that Kapalam opening. That Brahma Randharam, they call it. So prana, if the prana goes through Brahma Randharam, through that Kapala, Mudri, then that Jiva goes to Brahma Loka, not otherwise. In most of our cases, what happens is, I told you we have Navat Dwara, 9 gated opening. So through any one of the gate, it will go, the prana will go. So in that case, we will have rebirth again and again and again. Only if it goes through the Sushumna Nadi, you need a tremendous amount of pranic control. They should have done lot of pranayama, lot of upasana, yoga dharana. Yoga dharana means concentrated thinking of Bhagavan. So we is able to do that in our case. See, there is a word called grace in most of the like grace of Lord is required for anything to achieve, because without this grace, nothing is possible to get. You know how the word grace has come into this thing. Grace is nothing but gravitational force. Gravitational force. In the case of Earth, you have seen, because of the gravitational force, if you throw the stone up, the stone comes down. That is called gravitational force. So from the gravitational force, what they have done is, they took the first 3 letters of the gravitation, G-R-A, and force means C-E. So G-R-A, C-E is the grace. So if we have the grace of Bhagavan, anything can be achieved, because Bhagavan will pull. You make your effort. Effort means what? Whatever has been told here, that ekagrata, mind control, abhyasa, bhakti yoga. So if we follow all these things, automatically the grace of Bhagavan will come to you and he will take you, like the gravitational force. I mean, you don't have to do any effort. So gravitational force is required up to a certain stage. In the case of Venus, nowadays, we send satellites to moon. So what do? So they have a vehicle in which the satellite is mounted, and then they fire with the fuel. And then it goes up to the surface of the earth, up to the gravitational. After that, beyond the surface of the earth, there is no gravitational force. And if it is targeted to the moon, that gravitational force of the moon will take the satellite wherever it wants to go. But you need an initial force to take the satellite up to the hemisphere of the earth. Up to that, gravitational force will work. Afterwards, Bhagavan will take over. So similarly here, if we follow Bhakti Yoga seriously, sincerely, intensively, automatically his grace will come to you even without any what you call as a request, or without any formality. See, that is why, if you are very sincere, honest, a guru will come automatically to you. That is a grace. So these are all practical things. So what we have to do is, we have to put in the practice. What practice? Bhakti. Bhakti is the key element. So we should not worry about death, because death is a phenomenon which is going to happen for all the people, irrespective of whether you want it or not. But direction of the Sushma Shariram can be directed by you by following the Bhakti Marga. So that, to stress that importance only, this chapter is given enough to stress the Bhakti Yoga. So don't leave Bhakti Yoga. And we are in a unique place where we can easily follow Bhakti Yoga. Like the worldly attractions and distractions should be as far as possible avoided. So once you are able to avoid 100%, very good. But if you are able to avoid 80%, 70%, even then Bhagavan will see to it that you are dragged there. So, so that is the importance. So this chapter number 8 is giving the importance and the glory of Bhagavan by following Bhakti Yoga. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
So Rama,